May 14th meeting of the Lynchburg Electoral Board in order. Shall we have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and let's do our introduction, starting with Ms. Jones.
Trish Jones, the General Registrar.
Betty Gibbs, Secretary of the Electoral Board.
The on-time David Levy, Chairman.
Jerry Shreko, Vice Chair.
Jeff Rosner, Lynchburg Democratic Committee, Authorized Representative and Voter Protection Liaison.
I'm Roz Webb, Whitaker. Judy Farrell, citizen. Carolyn Shreko, citizen.
Mark Hand, News in Advance.
And a citizen. Good.
Did he say that? No.
Shall we move into reviewing and approving the agenda? Has everyone reviewed it? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second. Any opposition? All in favor, say aye. Aye. It passes. So we're proceeding on the agenda. Now I have the minutes of the last meeting, which was May 9th. And the special election canvas meetings, April 21st to 27th. Any readiness to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Call the question. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Okay, let's move on to announcements. Do we have any announcements? I will announce that the registrar's office has been redesigned.
Oh,
And we are very pleased. So take a visit when you have a chance.
See how big it is now.
Okay. Okay, any other announcements? Moving on.
I wonder if you would announce, but I'm sure everybody knows what happened with the last election.
Well, we had an election and then we didn't have an election, as everyone seems to know. And frankly, I think, as I will say in the registrar's report, that the election officers and registrar staff and everyone did an excellent job of that election. We had 42% of the voters in Lynchburg turned out. Even though that was below the state average, it was still significant. And there were no real glitches. It happened pretty well with the new registrar.
Good little practice election.
Oh, and another announcement is our secretary's birthday today.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. Just so everyone knows.
Okay, shall we move into the registrar's report? There's a copy that's available.
all right.
Madam Registrar.
All right, we'll start with registered counts by locality. Now this report was run on May 1st. And we had an increase of just over 800 registrations for the previous month. So right now we're sitting right on top of 60,000 registered voters in the city of Lynchburg. You'll see that over 4,000 of those are inactive. So those are already in the stages of going through the process with the Department of Elections to come off the voter rolls, where they have to be, they're put into inactive status by the Department of Elections, and then they, two federal elections to go through the cycle before they'll be removed from the voter rolls. Next up is the budget. So,
Notice you didn't put the source of registrations. Is that a deliberate choice?
yeah. No, the one with the felonies and the removals and I didn't do that this time because I got sidetracked by renovating the registrar's office. And that's a one-by-one thing, but I literally have to go type those in one at a time.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, well, I understand completely.
So, but up to the budget now, we have, we're sitting at 100% of our budget as of the 6th of May, when I ran this report. So we're still, a month and 3/4 from that point to the end of the fiscal year. However, I will say that, we've received the email from the Department of Elections regarding reimbursement for the cost of, some of the cost of this election, and they are going to try their best. So the paperwork has to be all submitted by June 11th, and they're going to try their very best to get that reimbursement done in this fiscal year, before the end of their fiscal year in July or June. So that could help with our budget request that's going to be forthcoming with the city for the 4th quarter.
Well, what will they reimburse you for?
We submit all the costs that were directly associated to the special election, temporary personnel ballots, any costs acquired directly from the election, and then they have this formula that they use that nobody knows or understands. It's based upon the number of registered voters in your locality, and they reimburse a percentage of the cost of the election. And we'll talk more about the cost of the election in a little bit when we get further down the agenda. So,
Good. Is there anything in this budget that stood out to you as being somewhat surprising or
no,
beneficial?
nothing unusual.
Noticed our personnel costs were a little bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, postage costs are up, but we also had a precinct move as well as a mail out to, 201. So that elevated that just a little bit, but nothing really out of the ordinary. And I really think that once we get a bit of a reimbursement from this past election, that we're actually probably not going to have to overly ask the city for we're going to have a 4th quarter adjustment, but it's not going to be way out in left field somewhere.
Right.
So,
Our contracted services were
Is that the part-time people?
contracts and services.
miscellaneous contractual services.
I need a magnifying glass. No, I have not. Since March, I haven't billed anything to that. So, I mean, the cleaning, well, that comes under janitorial. We did bill the, no, we didn't bill. I was gonna say ESO for this past election, but we didn't bill that to that. So, I'm really not sure, but I'll see what I can find out and see what was billed to that GL account.
Yeah, and our software maintenance was not budgeted. We had a lot of it.
Yeah. So software maintenance comes in, I'm not sure about, what does that say, $29,000?
Right.
I know that when, the coding is done for the ballots, the LNA testing for the equipment, all of those things fall under software maintenance. So, but I'll do a little research and find out the exact dollars and cents for that. Make sure everything, whatever was billed there was coded right.
Well, I'm surprised that nothing was on the budget for that.
Right.
So it must have been going somewhere else.
Yeah, there's nothing on the budget for that. And then, of course, temporary personnel services, while, they're down a little bit, they also look a bit ridiculous. Especially on the registrar side, because there is no money in the budget for that particular line.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I think I'll do better reading from the screen than these papers. Right. Ongoing projects, so we have the PAGE program. We're gonna get that up and rolling again. Really try to work on that, focusing on the November election. We're not gonna get much from that for the August primary. It's summer, kids are getting ready to go back to school, so, going and working on an election is not, they're not getting school credit for it, they're not, so we're gonna start pushing that again for the November election. The backup precinct paperwork, is an ongoing process. Still got a few of those that, need to be executed. The precinct 401 move is completely done and over now, so that will be closed and removed from the list. I submitted the permanent move to the Department of Elections. It was approved right away and it's done. So that one will be gone. The annual less exercise, I submitted the less acknowledgement that you guys did at the last board meeting. I submitted that on April 14th. So that is already clear, and now you guys will be up to the annual VSSP, which is the other part of the security plan, has to be done by the 28th of August.
And you'll be sending us information before the next board meeting?
Yes, as soon as Alex sends it down, I will.
Right.
Yep.
Maybe the next or the August meeting.
Yep.
It seems to me that we need two other projects on here.
Okay.
One is the implementing the election worker software,
Yes.
and the second would be to focus on voter registration efforts for the November election.
What do you mean?
Well, we have scheduled, have dipped our toes in, as of last fall, the scheduling of special registration events for the colleges in the area. And I think that's been an admirable thing to do. And we have one that's now being scheduled for Randolph in
October
October.
5th or something
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
But absolutely, we need to do this for all the colleges in town. Same day registrations are a wonderful thing, but if we can get people to register before then, that's going to lessen the effort,
Absolutely.
the Herculean efforts that are put in to doing those things. So anything, from my point of view, that as a member of the electoral board, I do to go to Liberty, to go to University of Lynchburg, CVCC, Virginia University of Lynchburg, Randolph, I'm more than happy to be out there to help with that.
And to call it this.
Yep.
So I think those are merit the focus of being a project.
Okay. We'll add.
Reaching out to whoever's in charge of orientation, find out what would be the best timing, any of those schools, if they want us to be there for this.
Absolutely.
And getting some options of times and for us to be able to go over there from them. Yeah, so.
Okay. As far as registrar's announcements, we just wrapped up one election, so early voting for the August 4th primary will run from June 18th through August 1st. The registrar's office will be closed on June 19th. The Department of Elections gave the option of starting either June 18th or June 20th. So, we opted to start on the 18th and take the 3-day weekend. So, Sunday voting will be available for the August primary. We will be open on July 19th and July 26th from 11 to 4 for Sunday voting. Same day registration will begin on July 25th. And then once again, the permanent polling place change for the precinct 401 has been approved and finalized by the Department of Elections.
Now, are we looking at the primary for August 4th as being a dual primary?
We don't know yet. So the last day for candidate filing for the House of Representatives is May, I think it's the 26th. And then we start ballot proofing on, the ballot information for the primary will be issued on June 1st.
June 1st, yeah. So we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet if it'll be a single or a dual.
Yeah. And of course, the local elections, the deadline is, what, June 13th?
Yeah, some June something to
Yeah.
get the, paperwork filed for,
Right.
for the candidates, which I already have the paperwork for the candidates for the Democratic Party. It's, this will be for the Republican Party, and then we do have one independent candidate that we're running for city council as what we have right now.
That person qualified.
Yes, they're already qualified for ballot access.
Okay. Any other questions about the primaries? You're still getting calls about the firehouse primary?
Yes. Yes, people are still calling, wanting to know when they can come vote for the firehouse primary, so we're directing them to the Republican City Committee. The Department of Elections has advised us to print a nice little note and put on the front door, especially the day of, just letting people know that our office has nothing to do with this and redirecting them to where they need to go, because there will be nobody in the office, and it'll kind of keep tempers maybe a little bit down when people come to the registrar's office to try to vote and, nobody's home. So,
Get a lot of phone calls.
yeah. So, important dates coming up. We have tomorrow I will attend the Region 7 meeting that's in Bedford. Our office will be closed on Memorial Day. On May 27th, I'm assuming that you guys got the advisory. On May 27th, there will be a legislative webinar hosted by elect from 9 a.m. to 12 with new laws and new information coming with that. June 1st, elect will issue the ballot info for the primary, and then on the 2nd, we begin ballot proofing. The next highlight on this will be June 17th. We will hold LNA testing for all voting equipment for this election, rather than do two separate testings, one for CAP and one for Election Day. ESO is coming, and we're going to do it all at once.
Okay, good.
So,
Well, good, that.
yeah, we'll have to add a few more machines to LNA testing, but my thought process in that was we're paying them to come anyway, so we might as well get it all done while they're here.
Good.
So.
Good.
Could I ask a question? June 1st, ballot information. Oh, wait. No, never mind. I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else. Well, I did want to ask, that's from the local board or from the state board?
That'll be from the state.
From the state.
Yeah. So the rest of the pages we'll get to once we get down to, talking about the election.
Oh, okay.
Good, good. Okay. Yeah, you have the turnout report.
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to talk about that in the post-election review.
Okay. And the cost is part of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Any other comments about the how about moving to unfinished business? We now have the election worker management software. Do you want to
Yes.
speak to that?
So yeah, we have access to that. All polling places and election officers that are currently appointed have been uploaded into the software. I spent a little time earlier, I guess it was this week, uploading and creating the jobs for the precincts for election day, the chief, the assistant chief, poll book officers and such. Right now, we've assigned the chief position to each precinct. Once Betty has some free time, then we'll continue onward with that piece. The software will allow us to mass email and mass text the election officers. But once all of the information's in there, then we'll be able to, from there, ask all the election officers, send them an invite. So they'll have their own account with the election worker software, and they'll be able to provide us with their availability for the election.
So as part of our training of election officers, we'll want to train them how to access the software.
Yes.
Now, what training would we need as board members or your staff need for this software?
I don't really know. I'll have to read further into the startup guide from election worker. I haven't read the whole thing yet. I'm going kind of piece by piece, but the way I'm understanding is that they would they'll get the invite and they accept the invitation, and they would create their own password to sign in. And then once they sign in, they're able to see their information. Once precinct assignments are made, they'll be able to see who's working in their precinct, the location of their precinct, the hours of their precinct, which is the same for everybody, but they'll be able to see what's going on in their neighborhood for the day. Because they'll have the ability, the chief will have the ability to put in notes of, is there a coffee pot available? Is there a microwave available? What's available in the precinct? So they'll be able to see all of that.
And the training notices will go through it.
Yes.
Do you know, for the other people in the state who are using this, have they put together any manual or list of protocols for use of the election officer?
Not that I'm aware of, but that would be something very, very handy to know. I'll reach out to some of the other localities that are using election worker and see what they have available.
Right. Betty, have you gone into it?
Not other than sign up for it.
I've actually looked in there and seen the names, but I'm a little mystified too as to what to do. I'd really like to use it to send an email to everyone who participated in this last election to just thank them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can explain to me how to do that,
Absolutely.
that would be useful.
Or you can write the email, forward it to the registrar, and she can send it.
Yes,
I'm not sure if we actually have to get that deep into the weeds to learn the software.
exactly. That
So,
would be good.
honestly.
Any other questions about the election workers software? This is free for now, but if we use it in November, we'll have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Moving on to new business, post-election review. Give us what you've got.
All right, so post-election review, we had a lot of people ask questions, particularly the media, constantly what the turnout was at certain points of the election compared to the November election. So the metrics for this election, you can see that the number of total votes that were cast, we were down, a little bit from November. About 1,900 difference, which I consider, a successful election, being that we were voting for governor and this was a special election in the middle of April. So we had about, the turnout was 42% for this election versus 46% in November. So turnout was very, very good. And you can see that we have roughly 1,000 more registered voters now than we had, or for the April election than we did for the November election. So voter registration is growing. And then down at the bottom, you can see the differences between the turnout, like for early voting. We had more people to vote early during the April primary than we did the November election. Election day, we were down a couple thousand. So it was just it was a fun comparison to do, to look at the numbers broken down by voting methods, to see where we stood against the November election in light of all the questions that had been asked throughout the entire election by the media. And we talk about cost of this election, we've almost got all the bills in. I think there might be one other, hanging out, but, right now, this election has cost $83,826.49. So,
Do any judges want to reimburse us for that?
pardon me,
Do any judges want to reimburse us for that?
right.
People's
So
tax
that's,
dollars going to waste.
yes, so, yeah. So that's the cost of this election, and it fits right around the cost of the November election. So,
That's good. Those are good statistics. It's interesting to see that our early voting is almost approaching parity with our state data election.
Yep.
Good, good. Okay. Any further questions about this election review? I will say again that your staff performed very excellently. Our election process of getting things in went very smoothly. And I think the workers were terrific. Had a few problems with Berlin and seating machines on the ballot boxes. But otherwise, things went pretty smoothly.
yeah,
And I don't think we had any machines break down this year.
No. no, the errors that we had, most of those occurred during startup processes in the morning, and they were just human error.
And given that we had to move spaces within the schools, work around the fact that schools were open, the volunteers who work these elections, they cannot be praised highly. It's just amazing what you all do. It is for the first time seeing it up close and personal. This role, it is really admirable to do. Thank you all, both here, online, and wherever you are. Thank you for that.
Yes, okay, now let's move to preparations for August 4th. This never stops.
Yeah, we'll stop at Thanksgiving. So, rolling straight from one election to the next. So we've already started preparing for the packing of the bags, the printing of the paperwork as much as we can until we find out if we're having a single or dual primary. Things are full steam ahead at the office, getting ready for August. And so right now we're about as ready as we can be at this point for the August primary until we get some more definitive information from the Department of Elections about what type of election we're having. So,
What, I think it's a good idea if we spend some time recruiting more election officers too. Are there any particular things that we want to recruit election officers to help with the recruitment?
Mark, what are you doing on August 4th? There you go.
I will be out interviewing voters.
Okay, so he's too,
Is that
can't get him.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to sneak into precincts. What? I think community is allowed in precincts. I can go in as long as I know. Never mind.
Is there anything you can think of? That's a good question. I mean, ask your friends, right? I mean, it's
I always tell Roz, she needs to find people she wants working in her precinct. We need to appeal to our chiefs.
So appeal to our chiefs is a good idea. I'll do a letter to the editor again.
yes. And I think, maybe it was, Betty may have mentioned this back a good while back. I mean, what if, because some precincts on election day, they turn in, several election officer applications. Some turn in none, so you can tell kind of who's interacting and asking about, hey, would you like to sign to be an election officer? Well, what if we ran some type of contest? amongst our chiefs. Yeah.
Then Ross would be all in if we would make it a competition. She can't resist a
You
competition.
know, make it fun.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
It's a wonderful idea.
And then if they win, they get to work during early voting.
That's particularly useful in the primary, because then the general election is coming up,
Yes.
more people. Yeah, good, good. We do need to keep working on keeping our election officers happy and also keep recruiting. We also now have this ballot on demand issue. Would you bring us up to date on that?
Okay, so, in thinking about early voting and thinking about the processes, I want to go to, this all started with, I would like to transition the office from checking people directly into the state registration system during early voting to checking people into a poll book like we use in the precincts on election day. Because I just think it leaves a lot less room for error. You know, if you go through the steps on the poll book, you don't have to worry about scrolling down to the bottom, clicking the pencil, you know, clicking the save to get the state system. And then you wouldn't have to worry about the copy and the paste over onto the, you know, to the internal spreadsheet. I think it would speed things up in the long run. So when I talked to Donna, who is our representative from CalCare, who is the vendor for our poll books, about this, she made an offer that they have an out-of-the-box ballot on demand printer that they cannot sell because it is out of box. Nothing wrong with it, never been used, that they would like to give to our locality. She is willing to help this process get all set up and such for early voting for the August primary. I've spoken to ESO about how that would, ESO is the vendor for our ballot scanners, on what impact that would have on LNA testing. And really none. We just print the ballots that we would use for a test deck for LNA testing. We would print a test deck from the ballot on demand printer rather than ordering a test deck from ESO. They would send us the ballot proof for the test deck and we would print it on that printer for that specific printer during early voting. As far as cost goes, of ballot on demand. So I took a comparison of kind of a snapshot from this past election and one of the sets of ballots that we ordered. So we ordered 7,500 ballots from ESO, and they're 25 cents each. So we spent $1,875 on ballots for just that one specific order. Now with ballot on demand, so the poll books are connected to the ballot printer. You can run 2 poll books from a ballot printer. Each ballot printer, it uses toner, and it runs about 20,000 pages for the toner is $148. For every 3 toner changes, you need to replace the drum, which is $218. So when I figured out all the math, and then of course we'd have to buy the ballot paper, we can do 7,500 ballots, including toner and drum and ballot paper for $1,590 with ballot on demand. Now, with that being said, we would still have to have a small backstock of ballots available in the office because of issuing mail-in absentee from the office during early voting.
And that compares to that 1,590 compares to what for 7,500?
1,875.
Slightly less.
And it removes some of the error. It takes away some of the waste of, you know, when you're ordering ballots for early voting, you know, just like with this election, it's a shot in the wind. That's what's going to happen. You can project, you can use estimates, you can use historical figures, but the bottom line is, you know, sometimes we just don't know. And then it takes away, the human error becomes almost zero. I mean, because I myself have stood at the counter checking in a voter directly into the state system. and you've got 18 precincts of ballots sitting here. And my saving grace was always, I always looked at the voter, looked at the ballot and said, hi, you're in, precinct 304, or whatever precinct that they're in. As I'm saying that, I'm looking at the screen to make sure that A and B match each other. And so many times I've had to look and say, I'm sorry, I've got the wrong ballot. And I've had to put it back and get the correct one. You know, because you're working out of a tray with 18 precincts of ballots in it. And it's so easy to grab the wrong one. So with ballot on demand, it's printing the ballot as you're checking in the voter. So.
What you're suggesting too is that the ballot on demand number of ballots cast is going to be backstopped by the numbers in the poll book of people who are voting.
Yes.
So people can't just come in and put in additional ballots.
No, it would be, yeah, the ballot would be printed right
Okay,
then.
I begin to visualize this better.
And you track your ballot stock the same way you track
Right.
ballots. So, you know, a ream of ballot stock is 250 sheets. So, you know, you're gonna get 250 ballots there. And then if you run 175 ballots during the course of a day, then you know at the end of the day, you should have another 75 sheets of ballot stock in the printer.
How many jurisdictions are using ballot on demand in Virginia? Do you have an idea?
I don't know. I know that Pennsylvania County uses ballot on demand. I know that Tasman County uses ballot on demand. Those are two that I've talked to specifically about this.
What's been your feedback from them?
Shaney told me on Tuesday, she's like, once you do it, you'll never go back. She's
Shaney
like,
is
it's
from
shorter from Pennsylvania County. She said, if your electoral board wants more information, tell them to call mine. You know, because she's got 29 precincts.
Yeah, right.
And so
Imagine.
she she loves it.
And it triggers the ballot printed for the precinct, the person on the poll book.
Yes.
So it's going to be less capable of error.
Yes. So I think when we take away a small, I mean, I don't think you're ever going to eliminate 100% of the error during check-in. I mean, ideally that would be perfect, but you know, that's how we get off about one in the precinct or two, you know, whatever. But if we can lower that by converting from Veris straight to the poll book, because the advantage there too is that every hour you can look and you know that between 1 and 2 o'clock, if you're off by 1, you can look in that device history for that particular poll book and you can see every single voter that was looked up during that hour with a timestamp. So you could kind of start to narrow down there who or what, you know, whereas now, just like with this past election, thankfully, we were able to get it down to 13. I don't know how we got it down to 13, but we got it down to 13. So we were off by 13 during early voting. So that was 13 people that didn't get checked in. But that was an ordeal because the only way that we have to check that is through the internal spreadsheet. And we were during the last week of early voting before I got access to that spreadsheet from the city. So we had literally thousands of voters that, I mean, it was difficult to get that sorted out, to get it down to 13.
So this may be management savings too.
Yes.
In the past, we've discussed ballot on demand slightly, and we've had some concerns about security. And the idea of just ballots flying around. You're reassuring me. Anyone else have comments about that? So, move forward with it. I think it's a good idea. Let's go ahead and set their offer at the every ballot. It's a slippery slope because we might end up with
Right. I don't see it being something that would ever be beneficial in a single precinct. I think more beneficial during early voting, and I think that's what most localities use it for, is early voting, because you're dealing with all your precincts in one building. But during election day, I don't ever see that being a, it would almost be a waste of money to invest in that for election day.
Would this be for the August primary or for November?
It would be for the August primary.
this.
And would it also possibly be used for November?
Yes.
If it's good. Well,
How long does it take to print the ballot?
Seconds.
So you would have 2 poll books and 1. And if you had 3 poll books, you would have 2 poll books, 100, 1 poll book, 1.
Yes. Yes. It can only run one ballot on demand printer, can only post 2 poll books.
for early voting, we typically have 2 poll books operating.
Yeah. And for this one, there'll be days when there'll only be one.
Yeah.
So,
It could be-
Or
It's a prime, it's an August prime. I don't think we need to vote on this to say what we need. I think you're getting your comments. We started the public comments.
I have a question following up on all of this. Kind of out of the weeds, so how does this, using the poll book, how do you get voter credit 2 years?
so say what you would do before election day. You upload it to various, yeah.
And the other thing is, since you're using not an ESO printer, there's a possibility of the timing marks not working properly.
Yeah, so that's why the ESO requires us to print the ballots on the BOD printer for the test deck, so that we can actually test that
The
with the
printer on the
equipment
best.
during LA. Yeah, so that if there's any hiccup, they've got time to fix it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Our audience has such expertise.
sorry, totally.
She's a busy one, so not her.
So, any other questions? Any public comments?
Unless someone else.
Well,
Go first.
Carl,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, still representing the Navy, Lynchburg branch of the NAACP.
yes,
Over the last election or so, Jubilee Family Development Center was removed as a polling site. And the rationale behind it was that Sterling Wilder, of course, is the executive director. He currently serves as a distinguished member of the city council. Is All Nations Church also a polling site now? It is not?
All people's church.
I mean, all people church. Where is it located?
on old,
Correct, no.
Grace Mill Road.
Okay. That's fine. I was so concerned about the other church where the mayor is a member of, and that wouldn't be fair. Okay. Can you tell me, you say you have about 1,000 new registered voters,
Mhm.
and that's good.
Yes.
Will you be willing to come out and meet with groups during the course of the year that have not met you as our registrar? But also, okay, that's all I have.
Absolutely.
and please extend invitations.
Yes.
Oh, I will.
Yes.
Yes.
Other comments? Mr. Rosner?
Yes. Jeff Rosner, Lynchburg Democratic Committee Voter Protection Liaison. These are comments on some events during the referendum special election. On April 17th, the list of election officer precinct assignments was sent to the party chairs. 14 of the chief election officers were Republicans and 2 were Democrats. On April 18th, at early voting, an individual campaigned inside the 40-foot line. On election day, April 21st, that individual was a chief election officer. On election day at precinct 102, Bedford Hills, a Republican observer was standing right over the election officer's shoulders. Observers are allowed to be close enough to hear and see what is occurring, but may not interfere. At precinct 305, Heritage Methodist, also on election day, inside the 40-foot line, a voter repeatedly told other voters to vote no. He was allowed to do this for some time before being told to get outside the 40-foot line. One of the 2 people who reported this expressed fear of retaliation for making the report. Overall, election administration by election officers, the registrar staff, and the board went very well. But there is a need for more training of election officers on how to handle incidents like these. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Good. Do we have to have a closed meeting about anything? Yes. Good. Okay, would us adjourn